13. 13 is the age I started using drugs. My sister introduced me to him. I caught her smoking weed, and I'm like, "Yo, I'm telling on you if you don't give me that." Kind of like that thing.
Yeah.
And that kind of kicked off my relationship with weed. As it progressed in my early 20s, I moved on to bigger and better things. That involved a lot of stimulants, and I had my first child in that time. Around like 13 to 22, I was homeless as well. So I was dealing with a lot of trauma. One, my dad was in jail. When I went, when I was 6, he went to jail, and he didn't come back till I was 16. But by then I was a feral human.
Mm.
I didn't have really any structure. I didn't, my mom worked a lot. She was trying to raise 4 kids on her own. So when she wasn't there, we played. And, we got into some things that we shouldn't have. But yeah, at 22, that's when my life kind of changed. I'm just this young kid, suffering addiction. And then now I got this baby on the way. And my relationship at the time wasn't great.
Mm.
I was trying to fill a void that, kind of like my father left,
Mm.
But with that being said, I found myself kind of incarcerated for 2 years until I was 24. And after that, my whole life changed. I just wanted to do something different. My uncles, my dad, and everybody, they were incarcerated. They've been through the justice system. They it was drugs, crime, since the beginning of time. And I kind of wanted to just try something different. I knew that life. I wanted to kind of just be something. I have like 12 brothers,
Mm.
and they all look up to me. And I wanted to show them that you ain't just got to be a gangster. You can go to school, you can be a nerd, you can do other things that fit you, rather than kind of living in your ego.
You got 12 brothers.
Yeah.
No
You
sisters.
oldest.
I got 3 sisters as
Okay,
well.
three
There's
sisters.
a lot of us running
Wow.
around here. My daddy's Jamaican,
Where do you
and
fall in the mix?
I'm a middle child.
Oh.
I feel like my pops was trying to start Wakanda. You know?
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot of us out there, so there's a lot of eyes on me. And as one of the oldest
Mm.
boys in my family, I just wanted to show them a different path. And now, I've been 8 years sober.
Wow,
Uh,
congratulations.
Whoop, whoop.
no substance, and I started 2 companies. One is Anything Helps, the other is Housing Helps. I got a
Mm.
moving company in the works as well, but we're just working on that. But just trying to again break these generational curses, break these mindsets, and build in a different capacity rather than destroy my community.
Wow, that's amazing.
Wow.
Thank God for you. That's wonderful. Peyton,
Man, you really
talk.
got me thinking.
No, real talk. Like,
Yeah, the wanting to be different, want to show everybody different. When I think of success for me, that was my motto. And I really stepped into that, I'll say my freshman year in high school. Um, Everything you just said you went through, I have family members. My older brother went through it. My mom went through it. Dad went through it. So when
you
I
say
look
when you say went through it, what are you talking about specifically?
the drug addiction,
Okay.
alcohol addiction, loss of hope, just stuck in the cycle. And I look at those things, I'm like, I don't want to be that. I want to be different. I want to break that generational curse that's on my family. So, yeah, I remember freshman year as I was entering the high school, yeah, I'm going to be different. I'm going to watch out for the vices. I'm going to take heed of the wisdom that God gave me and also listen to my mentors at the time. So, because of that, I think that it had set me apart and also made me successful in my own lane where I can be happy. That I don't have to be um, swayed by societal norms and stuff like that.
So would you? So you didn't personally struggle with drug addiction yourself, right?
No,
But you were watching it from a very, very, very
very,
close
very close.
perspective. You said your mom
Yeah, my
struggled with that.
mom, yeah, and I remember driving from Chicago with my mom, and I just asked her about her upbringing. And the things she was telling me, I was like, I don't know how you survived
Hmm.
and how you was able to give birth to two boys. But I'm very proud of you. To see that, at least in her upbringing, she didn't really have no role models. The drug, sex, alcohol, violence was just very evident in her community
Okay.
at a very young age too. So it was just cool to see that my mom was able to break through. But it's only so far you can go by yourself, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think it's huge when we talk about success. It also take a community too to help you be successful.
Right. Right. When you were watching your family members go through the things that they were going through, was it something that you were raised with as far as those grievances, or by the time your mom had you, she was already fully healed from that?
Yeah, I think it was some things that my mom was still carrying, and she didn't realize she was carrying those things until me and my brother got older, and as we did our own self reflection, we brought it to our mom like, "Hey, mom, did you realize you was reacting this way when we really needed this?"
Mm-hmm.
And those was healing conversations for me and my brother. Very vital to our growth journey. Yeah, I just think once again, like the environment she grew up in, definitely played a part in the way she even parented us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So what when you guys think about the way that you were brought up,
Hmm.
how much privilege did you have? Peyton, go first.
Privilege as in financial.
All of it. I mean, what ways were you privileged? Like, you didn't have to maybe see certain things growing up, or were you ever, okay, let me ask a series of questions. Growing up, did you ever worry about eating?
Yes,
Oh, you did.
yes.
Was it for years, or
It
just a
was
certain time period?
it was moments at the time. It was moments at a time. You
Okay.
know, the 1st and 15th of the month, you know, the fridge is
Mm-hmm.
full. But toward
First and 15.
the day before that,
Okay.
the fridge was empty. So yeah, that was just like an ongoing thing.
Living paycheck to paycheck kind of
Living
thing.
paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no financial literacy
Oh,
that
okay.
was passed down to my mom to me. I had to learn that on my own. Uh, yeah, and even thinking about privileges. Yeah, we didn't really had no opportunity to resources that was just within your family. You know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But the fact that you graduated college, though, like, education, is that something that you pushed yourself in, or did you have people around you who was like, hey, education is the way to go?
Both, and I think the big thing is I've seen my mom drive, and she was always like, "Okay, I gotta get the next thing because I have two boys. I gotta get the next thing because my sons is looking up to me." So, fun fact, she actually graduated college before I graduated.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got to go to her ceremony, and then 2 weeks later, she got to go to my ceremony. So that was really huge
Wow.
because um, yeah, it was just inspiring. Like, okay, you this age, you know, and you still pursuing your hopes and dreams. So,
That's what's up.
yeah, it was her drive that got instilled in me and my brother.
That's what's up. Emmanuel, how privileged, what were your privileges, if any?
I was raised by pretty much a group of black women, and that's something, the drive of a black woman is crazy.
Yeah.
It's
Mm-hmm.
not talked about enough. Like my aunts and my mom, like my dad and my uncles, they're all hustlers and gangsters. But my mom and my aunts, they're all scholars. They're all
Wow.
very, intelligent women, high level functioning women. Like she was a single mom. She had to be,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There was nobody else that was gonna raise us.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
my mom is you know, a great person, a person with crazy motivation, and I respect and look up to her now that, I'm in this phase of my life and not living in my ego. I reach out to my mom for a lot of guidance.
What do you guys think about the saying, you are products of your environment? People are products of their environment, because when we're talking about success, it's like, okay, the people who you see as successful today, and both of you are successful. It's like, okay, how much of that was because of your environment and how you responded to it, and or is it something that that is innate, that is just in you? Do you guys agree with the idea that people are products of their environment?
Personally, yes.
Okay.
Uh, what did that environment produce?
Yeah.
I feel like it can operate at the high and low level. Low level, I'm like, I was in survival mode. That's what my environment produced. But on a high level kind of wave, surrounded by the right people, with the right team, with the right kind of love, that environment also produced something as well.
Mm-hmm.
And both of them in combination kind of created who I am today.
Mm.
I don't regret anything or being a part of any other environment. I'm glad I'm the man I am today because of it. Like the survival mode kind of cultivated a different type of hunger
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in me, and then at this level where I'm talking to a bunch of high level people, that curiosity and that ability to learn, and that kind of lighthearted innocence, because I've really never been in this space before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That kind of it's refreshing, you know.
That's
So
that's wonderful. Here's the thing, though. You said, that you grew up in survival mode, right?
hmm
Okay. Let me ask a question before I continue with my thought. Um, did you grow up in the inner cities or in the
yep,
suburbs?
yep. I spent my summers in New York, and from the east side of St. Paul.
Mm.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
hmm
Did you see a lot of violence growing up?
Absolutely.
Mm.
Yep.
Okay. So here's the question. There's a lot of people that come from the same environments that you do.
hmm
That live there right now.
hmm
See the same stuff. But a lot of people, unfortunately, they're not going to come out of that. But the fact is, not everybody comes out of that lifestyle. There are people who continue to, commit crimes, and or continue to suffer from drug addiction, continue to be in a loop,
hmm
unfortunately, until the bullet hits them, and that's unfortunately the reality of a lot of people who are here on this earth. So they come from the same environment, but you say that being from the environment you came from, it curated the drive that you have now. So then the question is, okay, is that drive for success that was in you then?
Yeah, I'd say, but I wouldn't have it if I'd never went through that kind of testing.
Yeah.
I would have never gained that kind of grit if I didn't come from those places. There's
Mhm.
certain things that mean more because I went through that,
Mm-hmm.
and choice, because you have a choice to change your environment, though sometimes it might not feel that way. For me personally, I look like to me, my outlook on life is I'm the creator of my universe.
Mm.
I'm the main character, so I got the ability to write my own book.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So as long as I got the ability to do that, I can change my environment at will.
If you had to give a percentage of how much your environment um, molds a person, what would that percentage be?
Close to 80%.
Close to
Mhm.
80%.
Yes.
That's so interesting, though. It's interesting, Peyton, because he's like, my environment created, like, it pushed me to have that drive, but yet there are so many people that grow up in the same environment, but they don't, that's
Mhm.
not their MO, is to get after being
Yeah.
successful in goals. Peyton, if you had to give a percentage of your environment molding who you are, what would that be?
I had to agree. 80.
What?
Yeah.
Y'all blowing my mind right now.
It's something
Y'all
that
are.
I remember talking to my pastor, and he gave me this analogy. He was like, two brothers grew up in the same environment, grew up in the same household, had the same parenting, teaching taught to them and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
One person used that as an excuse. The other person used that as a motivation.
Okay. So, but that drives my point.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are saying 80% of your environment dictates, it molds who you are. But your example of, two people grow up in the same place, one
Right.
person has a certain mindset about it, they use it as an excuse, like, oh, I'm not this far because I grew up here. And then the same other person in that same environment is like, no, it's because of that environment that I'm here today.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the difference is it's about who the person is. My personal opinion is that I would say it's 50-50. How successful you are, it's dictated. I would even go off to say that 60% it's based on you and how you react to your environment.
Mm-hmm.
That's 60% of where you end up, but your environment is the other, what, 70-40. Yeah. So
I'd say, to your point, your environment does matter, because most people that come from my situation don't make it out. And the key difference is the perspective that the person has on making it out. Like, if you don't know, I didn't know there was a way out. Honestly, I didn't even know insurance was a thing. We had an insurance dude. Like, you go to that person for insurance, and it wasn't real. I didn't believe in insurance till they made me a believer. Multiple thousands of dollars later, right? But even something as simple as that, I wasn't taught that, right? So it's based on a person's perspective and where they're at. But your environment can hold you back quite a bit.
Yeah.
Right.
It's an outlier for a person to make it out, for sure.
Because then you could flip it, right? If you had a kid that grew up in a very successful environment, family-owned businesses, families know how to be creative and tap into that side, that is going to bleed into, that is going to go into the child for that point. To the point where, like, the child just doing things because he seen this happen multiple times. And that's what we really seen in our community. What are we seeing in these environments that is being replicated? Because you can only go as far as what you see in front of you. Just like you said, you didn't know nothing about insurance until years later.
That one I'm a little embarrassed about, but
No, but
it's the truth.
It's the truth. Like, who was in your community talking about these things?
No,
See,
no one.
So knowledge is clearly power. It's clearly a gateway to success. Knowledge is an ingredient to success, right?
100%.
So what are some other essential ingredients to success? Is there a specific recipe for success that if people get a hold of, knowledge and XYZ, then they can be successful? Like, what would you say are the ingredients to success?
Always be willing to learn. Make sure you're not the smartest person in the room. If you are, then you need a new room. You're not learning nothing. If you're not learning nothing, you're not growing.
Yeah, and community, which basically what he said. Having brothers and sisters that is willing to go lengths with you, willing to push you. Like, I'm in a community now where when my bros drop a post, that like ignite a fire in me. Like, okay, I got to do something now. And it's not out of jealousy or envy. It's just when you see somebody else going 110%, that just motivates you. Like, okay, if he can go this far, I could go further. So
I'm hearing knowledge. I'm hearing wisdom, making sure you're not, the smartest one in the room.
Yeah.
I'm hearing community, knowledge, wisdom, community. What are personal characteristics? Are there personal characteristics to success that you have to have?
Yeah, I think you just got to have that drive and the willing to be different.
Grit. I know you said grit, Emmanuel.
Success comes with grit, because sometimes, even when you're trying to chase success, you can feel a little hopeless, right? And if you don't know how to deal with those lows, the highs won't come, Sometimes, man, I felt like an imposter.
Yeah.
I'm like,
imposter syndrome.
do I deserve to be here? Am I supposed to be here? I'm here, but it doesn't feel right, right? And then having people to talk to and guide you, having mentors, that's really important. Having people who have been through that route kind of can navigate how you feel and be there for you. I have a person named Paula DeSanto. She's one of my best mentors. And she has this way about her. She just talks so, like, you just believe her. She tells you it's okay. It's okay. I ain't got no other worries in the world. Having her in my corner and people that are a part of my success story to other people, man, that helps a lot
Mm-hmm.
because they show up when I can't.
Yeah. You
So
cannot. You
support
cannot do
system's really,
something.
really hard.
Yeah. You cannot do
Mm.
something big alone.
Yeah.
I hear you on the support system.
Yeah.
That's absolutely huge. Peyton, you had mentioned something, and you said when you see your bro post something, it motivates you to go hard, right?
Yeah.
You talking about social media?
Social media or just in our group text.
Speaking of social media, let's dive into social media and success. What's your relationship with social media and success?
It's
I
almost
get
necessary.
Yeah.
you know,
say that
Especially
again.
now. Yeah.
it's almost necessary.
Really?
Yeah. We live in a world where you got instant access to everybody,
Everything.
literally
Yeah.
everybody. It's the best, cheapest version of marketing that you can find.
Mm.
Even if you're not you're a little bit kind of, you know, not as social as other people.
Mm-hmm.
Even just putting out things is gonna be more effective than you just trying to, word of mouth it. We can gain influence much faster. I
Yeah.
feel
That
like
is true.
social media is a very, very powerful tool. And it's almost like in today's time, it's almost a key piece in success.
So you actively use social media for your organizations.
Yep, and I hate it because I'm a little socially awkward, but it's used to get my message. It's a platform that I use to get my message across to the masses. That's
Mm.
literally what I use it for.
Mm. Peyton, what's your relationship with social media and success?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm gonna have to say the same. Is huge now. It's a huge influence in our society. Everybody from young babies to elders is on social media and being influenced by social media. So
You guys are like, it is absolutely necessary. We couldn't be more in touch with each other without social media. But then on the flip side, social media can also be an illusion to success. It can be a barrier to success because with myself, I'm going to put myself personally in this box, but you know, I love social media. I'm a content creator, entertainer. So yes, I use it for my own personal businesses and everything, but at the same time I get so distracted by it. And at the same time, when I look on social media, I see, okay, Kylie Jenner, younger. I think she's younger than me, but it's like, okay, here she go with her, $1 billion makeup beast animal that conquers the world, and people out here driving Lamborghinis and people living that girl lifestyle,
Mhm.
And so it's like, how do you sift through that?
mm,
Yeah.
Kind of just remember my purpose. What I want my social media to do is invite you to see, right?
Mm.
Invite you to come see. It's just an invitation. And then when you come in person, you can see what I do in person and see if it matches, but that's up to you and your own perspective. My job is to get that invitation out to everybody I know so that I
Mhm.
can help and be impactful to everybody I know.
I like what you said.
yeah, that was good.
When he said my social media is for me to invite people to see. Cuz that's real. It's like, let me let you in on my everyday life. It's not fabricated. Like, so what I would assume is that you don't use social media and like the website platforms and things to put out like a little bit of a flex. You
No,
know what I'm saying? You
no, no,
use it to just
no.
capture what is really going on.
we got all that out in my 20s, I don't need to flex out no more right now. I just want to help the community. That's
Mm.
it.
You
Yeah.
see how he said he got that out in his
His
20s
20s.
though? Like, see, so for us in our
Right.
20s and everybody else who's even 20 and younger, it's like, yeah, that's crazy. See, so we do go through the same thing. So
Mm.
you having a little bit age up on us, it's like, okay, so this is a facade and it is a phase. You
Well, I mean, that's when you're your most arrogant. That's when, you're kind of in your prime. That's when you're your best looking. You're your most active. Nobody got no kids yet. You know, like,
Yep.
like of course you got to flex out. Part of that is trying to secure a mate, right? Part of that is
Right.
trying to
Yeah.
secure success. Part of that comes with, but
Mm.
as you kind of age, it just comes to you. I used to be so like caught up in how I'm going to portray this and portray that. Where now I want to actually have impact, right? And I want that impact to come to me. Like the people that I attract help the cause, right? Not just me and my own personal selfish views. When I'm trying to help a bunch of people, I need more people than my selfish mind.
What was that moment for you?
Like when it kind of
When it switched from, I'm trying to pop my stuff, show everybody I got it, to now I'm trying to have impact, at least from the social media.
when I started working with homeless people and outreach,
Mm.
all the clothes and stuff I had seemed very trivial. These people have nothing. There's people in the world that got nothing. They can't, they can't pop their stuff, right? They can't. They're not looking as good. And I remember I didn't look that good. And I didn't care about it, and it really means nothing. Beauty's fleeting.
Mm.
You know, it's really fleeting. As you age, it's less and less important.
Wow. See, that's real wisdom. Like that's real wisdom, because it's because of what you've been exposed to
Yeah.
that has allowed you to realize, you know what, these things, these materialistic things, that's not true success. That's not true success. What's truly accomplishing success is when you have an impact on people. And like you said, you were in front of people who had nothing, like working with homeless people. It's like, what do you look like coming up to them with a Louis Vuitton belt? And like, it's like, oh, this guy is here to help us. Like, I mean, what is he, So, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that was the experience that I had when I went to Africa. And it was on a missions trip. I went there, and first of all, I'm not one of those people who are gonna market and be like, hey, go to Africa and everything's poor over there. No, Africa has literally the same stuff here, malls, all commercial stuff. But in certain parts, I did go to the specific slums of Nairobi, Kenya, and looking at the lifestyle there, how the students who were going to public schools, like their roofs were literally like metal tin, and we were in a classroom that was about as big as this room, and it was raining that day when we went to go visit, and there was no glass on the window, so like the rain would rain in the classroom. And but the students' attitude about being in school, and literally there was a dirt floor. This is in the slums. There was a dirt floor. All them kids was still in school, and they was still eager to learn, and they had the drive to learn. Nobody was distracted with social media. They didn't care about that. They didn't care about none of that stuff. They cared about their education, because it's a privilege to have an education. And then me being an American, coming back to America, I experienced this thing called reverse culture shock, where, it's like, dang, like, I want to go back over there, because the things that I'm caught up over here is not even real. This social, I be caring about how many likes is on my picture.
Fair enough. Yeah.
That is not how you measure success.
It's an easy cycle to get caught up in.
Yeah.
Because it's all instant gratification. But we work hard to pay a bunch for nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Like whether it's a car, whether it's a house, whether it's having those new shoes, or everybody gets caught up in something. But I mean, is success wearing what you obtained, or is it having what you obtained?
That's a good question. And it's the latter. It is definitely the latter. Mr. Dean, the founder and executive director of the Man Up Club, he told me something that I've always kept in my mind, but he told me, he said, and this is just real talk, like, compared to in America, you will see more white people who have generational wealth compared to black people, right? And he was saying, the thing that he's kind of like observed is that, people who are wealthy, you notice white people don't be flexing, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In generally speaking, they don't be flexing everything they got on. But then you see, black people will flex we'll get every single pair of Jordans, you know what I'm saying, to come out, oh, this the retro, whatever. And it's like on social media, we look like we flex the dollars and everything, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, but where are you investing that money though?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Some of the richest people I know are so cheap.
See,
Yeah.
and
So cheap.
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
It's crazy because I actually had a different experience. And both of these brothers was black. So I remember this one brother, he picked me and my pastor up and to take me to the game. And from the looks of it, he was ashy. Knuckles was ashy. He had jean shorts on. Y'all know Minnesota weather, it gets cold. This
Mhm.
was in November and it was snowing that day. And as he was driving, I was just asking him his story. He's telling me his story, all the hardships he went through and stuff. And I remember we pulled up to the school and we were just talking outside in the cold. And mind you, he had a polo shirt on, some jean shorts, kneecaps ashy, elbows, everything ashy.
Okay.
And I'm like getting distracted, like, brother, you need some lotion, man.
Oh my
Like, what's
gosh.
going on, right? I'm like, who is this dude? Car nice, but who is this dude?
Mhm.
And it was just a crazy moment because he stood there and said to me, just because you listened to my story, I got something for you. He goes in his car, opened up his glove department, and he had a stack of Walmart cards. I mean, like, it had to be like 30.
Mm.
And he was like, here, I'm going to give you 3 of them. And I was like, oh, okay. How much is on it? $100 each.
Wow,
I was like,
that's
whoa.
crazy.
I was just like, I was just shocked, not only because he gave me 3, I was shocked at the stack that he had.
Yeah.
Like, what was you doing with a
Just
stack of
running
Walmart?
around Walmart cards?
For
Right.
real,
Awesome.
like, okay,
Yeah.
you the type of person that's willing to give,
Right.
you know? But when we talk about success, he didn't look successful at all,
Mhm.
at least to my perspective.
You
Like,
cannot judge a book by its cover.
100%. I remember pitching my organization to this old white dude, man. He's grown to be a very good colleague, very good friend. Within 5 minutes, he kind of just shut me up and is like, "Here's $5K." It was the
What?
first like major donation my organization has ever received,
wow.
Wow.
and it just blew me away because I'm like, man, I didn't even get my elevator pitch off. You know, I prepped for this, but
Right.
Yeah.
man, he sensed our vibe and he was like, huh, you know, just free. And it's the first time I've ever been, you know, in a room with somebody like that.
Mm-hmm. Who has just that
Just-
access to be able to.
And I'm like, wow, what impact could we have if we had people like that?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, part of what we do too, we have a non-profit and BIPOC organization where we try to help people grow their organizations as well.
Mhm.
'Cause we plan to kind of help feed the community in that way too.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, that's really good. And you know, while we're on the topic of race and success, let me ask a question to you guys. So, you know how people be like, "Oh, the average Joe," right? Because and Joe, when I think of the average Joe, you know, that's the average white American guy, right?
Mhm.
But let's talk about the average Trey.
I like that.
Yeah.
The
And,
average
and,
Trey.
and let me just say, and let me just put a disclaimer. No, and let me put a disclaimer out there. Average Trey does not mean. First of all, I'm not talking about the gangbanger Trey. No. I'm just talking about black man.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Ain't no certain type. It's just Trey. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that the average Trey is set up to be successful in America?
No, there's a lot more holding Trey back.
Yep. Obstacles. A lot more obstacles. As we talked about earlier, you know, what environment did Trey grew up in?
Mm.
What was his living like? Who was in his corner, passing down wisdom and knowledge and giving them gems and jewels of how to survive in this life?
Ask the question, do you guys think that the average Trey is set up to be successful in our country? And you guys say no?
No, not initially. What about the institutionalized
Yep.
racism that's there? You
Mhm.
know, how does Trey have to portray himself to fit inside this successful world?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because there's been places where it's like, oh yeah, I've gotten that kind of you're one of the good ones
Mm.
Yeah.
energy. Absolutely hate it. You know how much of that is Trey dealing with.
Mm.
You know,
One of the good ones. Elaborate on
Yeah.
that.
There's when you've broken into this world and you get around specific people, that's what you hear. You're one of the good ones. And I'm like, what does that mean? What is a good one?
Mm.
Like, are we all bad? Is it more of an outlier that, we can be successful? What is a good one, right? What
Mm-hmm.
is black excellence?
Right. Let's talk about that black excellence. Because my cousin, shout out to my cousin Elijah Thomas. He could have been a Black Panther, okay, in
Mm-hmm.
today's world. But him and I were talking about this concept of I'm losing it. Black
Black,
success, black
yeah.
excellence. And he was saying at one point, I was all about black excellence. I was all about it, pushing brothers and sisters out here to be excellent. But then, he lived some life, and now he's at a point where him personally, he's like, I can't stand the term black excellence. I cannot stand this idea of black excellence. It's like, no, I'm just black. Okay. Like and it's kind of like from this mindset of, it's like, okay, well, because you're black, you got to do extra good.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're black, it's not enough to have an A, but you got to have an A plus. What have you guys experienced that? I know that Trey just kind of, I said Trey. We talking about the average Trey.
The average Trey.
Emmanuel just said that, but
Yes,
Peyton, what's your take on it?
That is all in coaching culture,
Mm-hmm.
especially towards our black athletes. My first year coaching at a youth age, we was playing against this suburban team, and that was the first game I had to coach through racism.
Mm.
And it was tough because you don't want to say the reason why we lost the game is because we are a black team in a white environment.
Mm.
But reality was we was a black team in the white environment. And it was just so crazy. I remember this referee telling me that I need to put a muzzle in one of my players' face.
What? Oh.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
Mm-mm.
And
Mm-mm.
I remember my old coach came up to me because I was about to call the game at that moment. Because I was like, this is getting way too out of hand. And he was like, Peyton, if you call the game, you're teaching your kids how to quit.
Yeah.
And for me, that stung because, one, I don't want to put anybody through what we just went through. I don't want to look at my kids and be like, because you're black, you have to be bigger, you have to be better, you have to just take the beating, right? But that's kind of the, how I want to say, I say, lack of better words, teaching that was taught to at least me and my peers from the older generation, is that you just have to accept this in your life. This is part of your life, you know? So when we talk about the average Trey, like, did average Trey go through a series of events where he just had to take the beating? And how does that impact his identity and his success story?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get a lot of different variations of trade that way.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I don't like the idea that black excellence is just a lucky shot. Like,
Right.
there's excellent people in our community.
That's right.
We're inventors. We're engineers. We
Mhm.
create. We're responsible for a lot of the coolness
Right.
that's around. Right. The music, the media. Like we're everywhere.
The
Black
creativity.
excellence is everywhere. It's everything.
Yes.
It's not just a lucky shot.
I love that. Because it's within.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's within. It's not something that we have to strive to be.
Yeah.
It's something that you just are because you are. You have to cultivate it within yourself.
I mean, due to the barriers that exist in this world, we do have to try a little bit harder, and that's just how it's been.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't have to be a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. It can be
you
a
know?
challenge.
Yeah,
Is what you're saying.
accept that challenge.
Yeah.
Be better because you want to be better, not because of what society's placed on you.
You know, a lot of people, they be getting a kick out of making people or fooling people in a good way. Like, you know, I know a lot of people who they're just like, you know, I just love like being like, gotcha. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, you see me this way. Okay, I'm gonna let you think that. And then you're gonna turn around and it's gonna be, no, like it was actually this and I'm actually this. And you gonna be the one looking stupid because you looked at me judging me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, have you guys had an experience with that? I mean, I'm sure you have. But
Personally,
specifically, yeah, like has there been a situation you've come across in life where, maybe somebody looked at you and was like, "Oh yeah, he ain't gonna be nothing," or,
Oh yeah.
"Oh yeah, go ahead."
yes. Personally, I got tattoos on my face, tattoos everywhere. Sometimes I'll pull up to the functions with my golds in my mouth
Mm.
just to be a little ratchet. You know, in this crazy world, right?
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm supposed to be here, and I feel like there's people that feel like I'm not supposed to be here,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not, but I am.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm.
know, that's how I like to show up, just a little bit. So you have to accept me. Like, yeah, you might have those preconceived notions, because I look the way that I do, but
Yes.
this is who I am,
Mm-hmm.
and it forces you to have to know me, not just on a superficial level.
Right. I love that.
I
Peyton.
remember working, and I was talking to a sister, and we was talking about just my ministry and stuff. I want to be a pastor at the time and stuff. And at the time I had a little afro, and she was like, You gonna go on stage and preach? Yeah. With your afro? Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna go to your church and listen to you.
What?
And I'm like, because of my hair? Yes. Pastor's supposed to have a low cut fade. Da 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 da. And
Oh,
I'm like,
no.
wow.
Uh-uh.
So it's interesting we talk about black excellence and what it looked like. One of my mentors, Benny Roberts, I'm gonna shout him out.
Shout out to Benny because I know Benny too.
Benny, yeah, is my dog. I remember he told me, what do success look on Peyton?
Mm.
And that rocked me for like 2-3 weeks. I'm showing up to work still trying to figure it out. Like, yo, what did he mean by that? And that was some great wisdom because it told me I don't have to look successful for somebody else. I don't have to do things just to please somebody else. My success doesn't have to, you know what I mean? Have to, yeah,
Look a certain way.
look a certain way.
Act a certain way.
I'm successful. Exactly in the lane, exactly in the clothes and the style that I am, and the person that I am, I'm successful. And I think that's black excellent.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Period. Okay. And while you're talking about Benny, actually, that's one of the things that I remember from him. Just thinking about him, I remember him specifically making a point to say, he was like, I'm a leader for Urban Ventures,
Mhm.
and he was like, what I love about my job is I can show up here and I can be in dreads and I can wear my jeans like I ain't
Yeah.
got to come in no suit, and that's what
Yeah.
he loves about his job. Now, that's a beautiful thing, and that's another thing that a lot of people have to struggle with though is, being successful and entering certain rooms and going higher levels and code switching.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys code switched before?
I feel like everybody has.
I was
Yeah.
going to say I have.
You know?
Intentionally and unintentionally is
Oh,
part of the culture.
Mhm.
I've been in front of police.
Oh,
Code
yeah.
switch right
Oh.
away.
Oh,
Right?
wow.
All of a sudden, I
Yeah.
got great posture. I'm speaking
Oh.
very formally. You
Man,
know.
what?
Mhm.
Oof. Yes.
But-
Code
but
switching is
You-
real.
but here's the thing about it. The more that I talk about code switching, I'm coming to accept that, to have good posture, like you said, and to what else was the other thing that you said? You had good
Speaking more
to
formally.
speaking more formally. That is not white, y'all.
No,
That is
it's
not white, and we have to stop
Yes.
with that.
But my version of code switching is just doing things I normally wouldn't do. I don't speak that formally. My posture is not that great.
See,
You know, I'm switching up the way I am to appease or appeal to you, not based on your race. Just trying to finesse a little bit.
Mm.
to be relatable.
Yes.
So you don't think of code switching in a racial way. You think
Oh, that happens. That happens for sure. But personally, I'm like, no, not really. I try to be as genuine and authentic. And usually, if you won't deal with me in my authentic way, then I don't need to deal with you.
You
Yeah.
won't do business. You won't
Nope.
do business with somebody who
No,
doesn't
because
do
if
it.
you have judgments about who I am, why am I doing business with you?
No, that's good. I also think of, the balance of, that code switching and filtering yourself. So like a lot of times, well now I have a filter where I don't really show all of me to certain people because, just like you said, if I'm seeing bad judgment from you, then I'm not finna completely open myself up to you. So, yeah, but as far as code switching, that's definitely prevalent in our culture. That
Super
is.
prevalent.
See, and that's wisdom, Peyton. That's wisdom. Is yeah, you're not supposed to show every single side of you to every single person. Like that's not using discernment.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, you go into a job interview, you're not going to go into the job interview the same way you're going to pull up to your friend's house.
True.
You know?
Yeah.
So there, you have to exercise wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're talking about success on the Man Up Club Presents. So I'm hearing so many gems from you gentlemen, some of them being you have to have a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
Mentor is key. Being humble is key. Like you said, Emmanuel, like don't make sure that you're not the smartest one in the room.
Mm-hmm.
I think that success means being a follower and also a leader at the same time. It's like you're further along than someone in your circle or someone you're influencing, but also there's someone that's further along than you.
Yeah.
Because it allows you to be like, oh, okay, it allows you to have a whole perspective.
There's a difference between a boss and a leader.
Yeah.
A boss and a leader.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that for a second, and then we'll dive deeper into it. But just like basic level, what's the difference between a boss and a leader?
A leader listens to their team. A boss controls their team.
So that has been the Man Up Club Presents on a segment about success with Peyton and Emmanuel. Last words, final words for success.
Surround yourself with people who's gonna uplift you and motivate you.
Emmanuel.
Don't be scared to jump off the porch. And sometimes you got to just jump and grow wings later.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Well, this is the Man Up Club. We teach life skills, social skills, academic discipline, and civic responsibility. Make sure you guys tune into the Man Up Club every single Tuesday. Okay, I'm sorry. Make sure you guys tune into the Man Up Club every single Thursday night on Holy Culture Radio.